on, everybody? This is the Dating is Hard podcast. I'm your host, Joe Welkie. For everything you need to know about this show, you can head on over to datingisHardComedy.com. Follow the Instagram at datingisHardComedy, and you can follow me on Instagram at Joe Welkie. That's where I post updates about the show when the latest episodes come out, any news regarding the show, etc. If you could please give the show a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, if that's how you're listening to it. I'm trying to get to 100 5-star reviews. Give it 5 stars. I think at the last time that I saw, I'm at 90. Just need 10 more 5-star reviews. I know that there's enough people to get there. So if you haven't left a review, please do. I'd really appreciate it. That'd be awesome. And it'd help make this show, I would just like to see 100 5-star reviews. That'd be awesome. How I meet my guests are through dating apps, which is always fun. And that's how I met my guest today. And we have a really awesome and interesting conversation. And I know that you're going to enjoy it. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy my chat with Naya. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Dating is Hard podcast. I am your host, Joe Welkie, and if you're unfamiliar with this show, what usually happens is I meet people through dating apps that I don't know at all, and I interview them about their dating experiences in the world, and that is how I met my guest today. So I'd like to welcome to this show, Naya.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my God, I'm so fantastic. Thanks for doing the show.
Yeah, you said it right too.
I know, I was so paranoid about saying your name wrong.
You're totally fine.
I was so paranoid. Naya.
Yes, Naya like fire.
Naya like fire.
It's so stupid. Yeah, okay, moving on.
All right, Naya, so we got introduced through, I don't know, this has been like a recurring thing that I have to tell this story. We got introduced through Bumble, and I'm on Bumble. I used to get a lot of my guests through being on Tinder, but I have been banned from Tinder.
Oh, shit.
For trying to get people on this podcast.
Okay.
Which I didn't know. I've been doing this podcast for almost a year at this point, and they must have updated their terms and conditions because I that's where I got most of my guests previously, and now I'm stuck with Bumble, and it's not as good.
Well, you also get like the serious daters though from Bumble, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's true, but then they're not as interested in being on podcasts.
That's also true.
They're like, what are you fucking, I'm here to seriously date, you piece of shit. How's Bumble been treating you, though?
I have a love-hate relationship with Bumble.
Why is that?
I get matches with guys in general, good guys, some that obviously just want sex. Super sexy. Then there's also guys that actually want relationships, but because I'm also trans, so like that makes it challenging for guys to really think of me in another light, like an actual person who's more serious about being in a relationship. So that's been challenging.
Do you find that people more think of you as like just like I want to hook up with that person, or it's not as serious, or what? Sometimes
the way the guys approach me is that like I'm either a fetish to them or the token Asian person that they need to experience or be like the rite of passage to either them discovering that they're gay or just straight again.
Yeah.
And that's very damaging to like anyone who can experience that. So
yeah. Do you find it more of like an Asian thing or more towards like the trans thing?
Well, luckily I feel like I'm passable in most senses. Like if you were just seeing me walk down the street with big tits, which I told you when you met me.
Yeah, well, before we met, she was like, "Be on the lookout. I'm wearing black, huge boobs, black heels." I was like, "Okay." That's
hard to
like
miss.
The self-description.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? Do you find that it's a lot of like? I don't know what to say about it. It's like fear or like they don't want to accept that they're like into a trans person, or
I want to believe that men normally don't have the conversation or the dialogue to understand what it means to date someone who's trans. Sometimes they default to their perceptions of what like Jerry Springer would say of discovering that, oh, they're a dude. But in actuality, if a dude looks like me on the street, should look like me on the street, we have an issue with your gender norms. Because if a guy should have big tits, I mean, that's not really, that's just something wrong with them. You know, like that's an issue on its own. So that's just how I feel, I guess.
Yeah. Have you had any like successful dates from Bumble? Like, are you like, what do you think is the best app that you've used?
I would have to say Bumble.
Yeah.
I feel like I like Bumble only because I've matched with the most celebrities there.
Celebrities?
I know, right? Ooh.
Whoa.
I can't say their names.
Oh,
NDA.
damn it.
Sorry. But like, I've gotten to know a few of them, and they've really opened up to me. But because, like, I respect their privacy, and I also respect just any man's privacy to like know that they feel safe with me, because that's the main thing is guys don't feel safe talking about anything about out of the norm things. They feel like they have to perform a certain way for their gender role, so it becomes damaging on them to not have to deal with their emotions as well as deal with their interests and attractions. Because
I'm sorry.
because sometimes like I mean I go to a club, I get numbers, and I have to distance myself as much as I want to hop on them because sometimes they're just real sexy, and we drunk and we dancing, but I have to always keep an arm's length away, get their number, and then text them and be like, "Hey, I'm trans." I have to get away from them far enough to know that I'm safe, than to let them know that I'm trans, just to make sure that I don't get hurt or my friends get hurt, because we don't know what's going to happen when they're in a drunken stupor.
Yeah.
And that's also like for anyone too, though, like for any type of woman who feels they need that extra protection. So
Do you find that celebrities are more open-minded about that kind of stuff than
yeah,
quote-unquote normal people or whatever?
well, they experience a different type of attention from people. Any little bit about them gets under a microscope and magnified in so many different ways, and it gets distorted. So the way that they discover people is through a human experience. And I think the reason why sometimes they are attracted to trans women or trans men is that we have human experiences that they can relate to. Like, we see each other as persons who exist in this world, and that's in that time. So the connection is great. But as for Bumble, I don't really... It's very challenging to get past the first date. I've been on a few dates with a few people, yes. But it's always the same thing, like, well, you're either too good, or I don't think I'm ready for a relationship yet, or you offer too much, or just these very discounted reasons why men feel the need not to embrace a trans woman in life.
That's a shame. Especially if
fine.
it's like you offer too much.
What
are you offering?
I mean, okay, so that's the other thing though. Like, a year later, they'll text me out of the blue and be like, "Hey, can we hook up again?" I'm like, sure.
No, but yeah.
First off, what happened? And then secondly, all right. Standards are so high. No, I mean, well, I make friends with all the people that I date, and because I feel for them. Like, not everyone that they date is gonna have the emotional intelligence to really understand that they have to talk through things to understand things, and we are all in a different place in our life where we only know what we know based off of our experiences. Until you get approached with something that is very physically adverse to your own life, and that's when you start to really think about yourself more.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's weird to me to think of like celebrities would be like they understand more than just like any old normal person, quote unquote normal person that's just like walking on the street, that they're more empathetic, or like they understand more. I
would go as far as to say that they're more self-aware of what they want.
Okay.
They've also been experienced. Like, how many times do you see people throwing themselves at like at other people?
Yeah.
I mean, at celebrities. Oh my gosh, lost my train of thought. Wow. Cool. But I also date, like, I really just also date, like, I like to date, like, normal guys.
Yeah.
Preferably ones that are geeky, that love comics, because I love comics.
Oh, yeah? What's your favorite comic?
The most recent one was probably the Black Widow one.
Oh, okay.
It takes a lot to really be that one woman who takes down men of power, and I think that's very encouraging for the narrative that women should have out there. So even though other women may discount me as a woman, but at the same time, I am all for equality.
So like, so that's what you typically like. What do you typically go for? Like, if you're on a dating app and you see a person, what makes you swipe right on them?
Well, first of all, as long as they don't have like a mask on their profile and shades, I'll probably swipe right. If you have more than one picture, I'll probably swipe right. Well, so no masks, no shades, because people are like really finding it okay to cover their faces.
Really? People have like mask pictures
Oh,
on there?
yeah. Oh, it's horrible.
Hold on, like COVID-19 masks
Yes.
or like Halloween masks?
I mean, some people have Halloween masks on, but that's permanent though.
Yeah, why would you fucking put... well, I guess they'd be like, hey, look, I'm socially responsible and like maintaining social distance and everything, and like, look at how much I care about the world.
But when that's their only picture, I mean...
Oh, that's their only picture is a fucking mask picture?
These are what ladies have to deal with, too.
Yeah,
like,
please explain. I've heard horror stories of, like, a lot of guys will have hunting pictures or, like, a big fish that they catch or some shit.
Oh, yes. So when I was in Minnesota, because I'm from Minnesota, I would swipe... Well, first of all, I went home, and you typically know everyone from a hometown, you know, because it's a town of, like, 1,200 people. I'm from Minnesota. And... from the country, so everyone's pretty much white and go hunting.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where I swiped right so many times or left, and I got to the end.
You got to the end. Oh, that's so brutal, dude.
I was like, well, I'm going to be single forever now. Yay,
well,
small town.
I feel like not as many people are on those in, Minnesota, but I mean, there's still like a healthy amount. I remember when I first started using Tinder, I was in New York, and I got to the end.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, where
well, also, I didn't, like, max out my radius. Like, it was, like, a 10-mile radius, but I wasn't going to go any more than 10 miles, you know? At a certain point, like, sometimes I'll match with people on Bumble, and it's like, they're 70 miles away, and they swiped right on you. It's like, why? Are you really that interested in me? Like, that you'd make that drive? I wouldn't make that drive. Would you?
It really depends on what they're offering. If it's good dick and dinner, yes.
Oh, that's it? That's all it
I'm kidding. Oh my gosh. I swear I'm not a thirsty hoe. Well,
I feel at this point we're all thirsty hoes. Fucking been quarantined for so long.
No, I was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, how many orgasms have people had over quarantine?
I mean, self-orgasms, probably loads.
Depends on puns there. Okay, I'm done. I swear.
Dude, I remember all the memes when quarantine started, and it was just like...
a bunch of jacked arms.
Yeah, it was just like one arm is jacked than the other, and it's like,
Horrible.
oh, at the end of quarantine, my arm's going to be like this. But, yeah, so what do you find is the difference between dating in Minnesota versus here? How long have you been out here?
Well, I was born in NorCal, so I'm native. I would like to believe that I'm a native Californian.
Okay.
However, when I was 8, I moved to Minnesota. There until I was 18. Then I was in upstate New York for like a year, and then I transferred to a film school out here. Hence the reason why I know a little bit about film and writing, like everyone else does here. Everyone. So I came back in like 2007. So I've been here in California since.
Okay.
LA since 2014.
All right, cool. Do you find any differences between all of those places?
Predominantly just that there were more diversity in LA and more places to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for sure.
And most of the time, not most of the time, I just canceled me going on a date in Minnesota just because of fear of my own safety. I mean, at the time when I was there, it was just probably not safe for trans women because they were debating the bathroom bill, and I just felt very awkward, like, having to go outside in public and not having to, like, having that anxiety of, like, going to the wrong bathroom and having someone peering over your stall to see if, like, you're like them or not.
Yeah.
So that's stressful going home.
Yeah.
Fortunately enough, now whenever I go back home, people, like, stare at me. They're like, wow, who is she? Why is she wearing heels in the snow? That's one thing. And then they're like, why does that Asian person have blonde hair? And how does she have big boobs? Those are the things that usually happen, yes.
Yeah.
But here I just like the diversity that's out here. You meet a wide variety of people with different interests that are very much like your own. Like you find your own people in a sea of people.
Yeah, that's what. I don't know. I've only ever lived in like kind of bigger cities, so I don't really know what it would be like to be in like a more rural. I don't know if Minnesota is like not necessarily like rural, but like when I first started using online dating / dating apps, like it was in DC, and then I moved to New York, which is like a huge city, and then I moved out here, which is a huge city. So I don't know what the experiences are like in Middle America, and if it's any different.
Well, of the people that are in like Middle America, the ones that I've encountered have great credit scores, as well as houses.
Yeah, dude, it's so easy to own a fucking house.
And I was like, wow, am I that materialistic, or am I just? But like at the same time, like they have like a lower cost of living, and they have different things that they want. I do know like a lot of the country boys that I match with out there, they really want to treat me really well because I'm like I'm like very rare, like to be that Asian trans woman in a small town in Minnesota.
Yeah, I remember a couple things. I remember lots of things, but
oh yeah, really? Tell me about it. Start with the first one.
I had a buddy in North Carolina, and he was telling me about like what his mortgage payment was, and it was like $750 a month.
That kills me.
And I was like, "Fuck you! My rent is twice that, and I own nothing."
The sadness of single life.
I know. And I remember when I was moving out here, I was driving across the country, and I was on dating apps. So I was on apps in like Arkansas and stuff. I was driving across, and I saw on Tinder, it was like everybody had a kid, and it was like didn't matter what age.
I totally
they
forgot
were.
about that. Oh
like,
my god!
Every woman was like, "God first, my baby second." Like that was all of their profiles.
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I just laughed because it was very much relatable because I've experienced the same thing.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like in the middle of the country, there's a lot of 22-year-olds with 3 kids already. It's like fuck.
Oh, that totally forgot about that. If you really want to go in a very superficial route, not that you were, but like the guys that I've matched with that are younger than me look older than me in Midwest.
Really?
Yeah,
It's that tough farm life.
I maybe, or just like their gender norms there. Like they just feel like because they're a guy in the Midwest doing all these things that they don't have to take care of themselves. But I wish that they would because they're sexy.
Well, I think that's the thing with like a lot of guys in general. Like I'm from the East Coast. It's like a tough, like we're tough East Coasters. Like we got the winter. I never used face lotion until like my last year in New York, and then I had I didn't ever lotion my face. It just was hardened, and then I started getting eczema around my face and just red spots. And then my girlfriend at the time, she was like, "You need to fucking lotion your face, dude." Yeah.
That's surprising to me only because you look really young. Like you look real good.
Nice. Stop. Text it to me so I can screenshot it.
No, but you should protect your face, especially if you are single and in LA. Like you're gonna be single for a long time. So not that you will be. But
wow. I'm thanks. You're gonna be single for a long time.
For real though. I offer so much to people. OnlyFans, by the way.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that. Like, I feel like I've looked this old for like 10 years. So I feel like I'm finally like looking how old I am now because it's been rough. Like when I was 22, I feel like I looked like this, and it was rough. But now I'm like, oh, okay, I look like a respectable 30-year-old finally.
Like, do you have an eye cream?
An eye cream?
Okay, that says it all. That says.
What do you do with an eye cream?
Well, if you feel like you are getting puffy in the eyes.
Hold on, pause a second. You also work in like makeup. You're like selling me right now.
No, I'm not trying to sell you, but like I also feel like if you are out there dating, guys need to at least take care of their skin. Yeah. Or at least protect it. Like there's a lot of pollution in LA. Like,
oh yeah, that's true. And
when you're out in the sun and being exposed to all of those.
Do you see those signs where it's like these chemicals can cause cancer like everywhere out here?
Yeah, and I don't know, it only hurts me when I feel like the guys feel like they don't need to do that because they are already loved or because they don't feel like they're worthy enough to do that for themselves. That's how I feel. Because I feel like every guy should know that what it feels like to just take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure some do, yes. So good for you if you do. Those that don't, I feel like there's a deep-seated issue about like how they feel about themselves. Not that I want to pry into you per se, but it's just like beauty standards are typically put on women, but also we forget that men have that beauty standard too.
Yeah, guys have. It's definitely not as harsh as it is for women, but men have a little bit of beauty standard stuff going on. I just started using body lotion, and I don't enjoy it as much as I can put on face lotion, that's fine, but like body lotion is just a hassle. I feel like the main reason why I don't take care of myself like to that extent is I feel like it could never end, and then I end up like an hour getting ready for shit, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. I'm just lazy.
Do you see how it's a choice now?
Yeah, it's definitely a choice.
I just think of my skin and like just waking up next to someone and them like touching me and being like, "Ooh, you soft, girl."
Dude, soft skin is great.
Because I mean, yeah, I'm soft.
I've never had complaints about it. The only thing that's not soft really are my hands, because of like I was doing the circus stuff and my hands get like calloused like crazy.
Okay.
Well, and also lifting,
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking, you get calluses on your hands and calluses on my fingers from playing guitar, and just I get calluses a lot of places.
Hands are rough.
Yeah, my hands are real tough. They're kind of like lizardy. Like, dude, touch those.
Oh, actually, did you put lotion on those?
No.
Okay.
Are they soft?
They. Oh, I feel it. I feel your calluses.
Yeah, the calluses are less because, yeah, that's soft. Yeah, that's real soft.
He's touching me.
Yeah, well, fucking, that's not your hand. That's not your hand.
I gave permission, though.
So you've got calluses, too.
Yeah, because I've been lifting.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
I got gloves. I recently got gloves, so I shouldn't be getting
really?
that. So I should be good.
Yeah, the calluses used to be, like, so much worse. Like, but, we haven't done circus or, like, lifting has been limited for the last 4 months, so I'm very sad that I'm losing my calluses.
It's okay.
So
you're also flexible.
I'm very not flexible.
You're gonna be flexible. I believe in you.
Oh my God, thank you. So what are some things that are like deal breakers when you're looking? This automatically makes you swipe left on somebody.
Oh, okay. Some deal breakers is when I go through your pictures, and let's say you have like 4 or 5, and there's a lack of diversity in your social profiles.
Okay, like how?
Like if you're on Instagram, I'll like creep on your Instagram and be like, oh wow, it's just no offense. However, I do feel like in order for someone to really understand or have empathy for me, is to have minorities or diversity in someone's life. When I don't see that, when it's very homogenous, and when they lack the emotional intelligence to really see where I'm coming from, then I will swipe left.
Okay.
And it's an unconscious thing. I know that I have to work on it myself because every person is different. However, from the experiences that I've had, like I dated a guy who was very much interested in me, and he's like a real estate lawyer, and he did a lot to like try and get to know me, and we finally hung out. And then it is in those instances where knowing that their life is so different from mine, they can just escape me. Like they just had that one brief visit with me to understand how it is to be with a trans woman, and then bounce. That's on me too, though. Like I allowed that to happen, but it always hurts. It always hurts to like have that happen. So when I'm swiping for people, that's the type of thing that I look for: is will they understand how it feels to be a minority, or will they actually have a dialogue to understand or build empathy for someone like myself? Are they looking for a human connection? These are deeper issues than just looks, but it's easy to figure out what someone wants within the first few messages, because they're like, oh, nice tits. I put it out there. I am totally okay with that. I play to my strengths and skills, but those are one of those things where like I also tell them like I'm actually looking for at least a connection, because the worst thing you can do as like a trans woman or a woman is to like have someone in you or on you or anything like that and know that they're just a dick.
Yeah.
Like being dicked down by a dick is not cute.
So wait, you still hook up with people that are dicks?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, dude,
Well, sometimes it sneaks up on you. They're like,
Yeah.
like they're real sweet to you until like you go out on a date and then they don't tip the waiter. I'm like, oh fuck, no, please tip your waiters.
Yeah.
LA, tip your waiters.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, there are people that still do that?
Some people lack the awareness to do that, and that's totally okay. But sorry, I take it back. It's not okay. The lack of awareness is something that needs to be corrected.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, what I'm also saying is like they grew up in a more privileged life where
Yeah.
they didn't have to, or they're just not aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that needs to be told in some form or fashion. But typically, I just dip. I'd be like, bye.
Yeah.
Because it goes both ways. We're in LA. Everyone has a lot of options, but that doesn't mean that we don't deserve a human connection.
Yeah, or even like human decency.
What is that again?
What is human decency?
I'm kidding.
Such a foreign concept. Human
what is
decency.
that? Oh my gosh, what is decent?
So if you're like looking through somebody's pictures and it's just like, hey, it's me and my 5 bros, you're like, I know that this isn't going to be a thing.
Well, if I can't figure out who you are by the first picture or second picture, I'm gonna swipe
Dude,
left
fuck
because that's so
those
effing annoying.
That's the worst. It's like I gotta play detective to figure out who you are. It's like, no, dude, that's absolutely atrocious.
There are some things that I do swipe right on, which is like if I can sense that they are a good person, or that they want to be a good person, or that they're out there to do good in the world, which is challenging to just see in a picture, but through conversation and information that they've given you, it's easy to deduce that.
Yeah.
So that's when I usually swipe right.
There you go. So do you have a type? Like, what's your type?
I would like to think that I don't have a type.
Yeah.
Because it's a wide...
We were talking about this in the car ride over
Mm-hmm.
here beforehand about like types and stuff. I didn't get to... I specifically didn't ask you what your type was because I was like, saving that motherfucker.
Oh, good for you.
For that podcast.
Typically, I don't have a type. However, there is a lifestyle that I do enjoy, which is fitness. Even though I'm a little thick right now because of quarantine, but it's all good.
We're all getting that quarantine 15, baby.
Quarantine shed away. I typically date guys that are at least knowledgeable of their bodies. The only reason being is because I've experienced things because my father, he's sick. And I respect him a lot, and I want someone in my life that wants to take care of themselves too. And knowing that someone you love or respect and birthed you into this life, that is just hard to have to experience for if I want to have children or if I want to have like a partner, is to know that their bodies are decaying in front of you.
Yeah.
And in general, that's already happening.
That's dark as fuck.
Oh, it
it's
is.
like, oh my god, I love you so much, and I know that you're decaying in front of me.
But like it's very challenging to see like your parents in general like slowly dying in front of you. Like they can't talk, you can't hug them, you can't talk to them, and these are the lived experiences that trans people have to have, and that's what makes people like me tend to question whether they're worthy or not of love. Is because sometimes being like the transition separates us from our family, which I feel like I'm doing my best to try and repair the things that I have with my family. Like we're all humans, we make mistakes, but we all grow from them. So when it comes to dating, that's what I kind of want. Not my father, just to be clear, not my father, but someone who's willing to grow and willing to take care of themselves. It doesn't hurt if they have muscles though.
It doesn't hurt if they have what?
Muscles. I mean, well, naturally they're drawn to my boobs like moth to a flame. Like it's just, they just flock around me sometimes. But like I don't date gym friends anymore because that's just weird. Like to know to go to the gym.
To go to the gym and know that you're lifting more than they are, and just like, ugh.
I wasn't gonna go there, but true. But the fact that they come in with their girlfriends.
Oh,
after
okay.
we've already hooked up, and that kills me. Like I just told myself I'm gonna dedicate to myself not to date anyone from my gym. So
now when you say muscles, are you talking about like the Rock muscles or more lean, like, because there's a lot of variability in terms of like fitness, and I don't know anyone that's like into like the Rock.
So it's very strange because I think Tom Holland is very attractive because Spider-Man, in case you guys don't know.
Who doesn't know that?
But I also believe, just like everyone else, Chris Evans is also really attractive.
Dude, Chris
like,
Evans is jacked as fuck.
Exactly, but he doesn't like to do that as much, from my understanding.
Yeah.
From what he said in interviews, because I've stalked him. Just in interviews. I swear. It's just, it's a wide variety.
Yeah.
Usually after a few conversations, I can figure out whether or not I want to unmatch you. However, I always leave it up to the man to unmatch me, because then it's on them. I tell them, like, you have an opportunity right now to talk to a trans woman and see what it means and feel what it means, and as well as talk to me, someone who has a story to tell you, if you want to listen. And if you don't, that's a reflection on yourself.
Yeah.
So that's pretty straightforward there.
Have you ever had people, like, this is something that I have been trying to be better about, like, whenever I've been on apps to date recently, to be more like, hey, like, it's been nice talking with you, but like, I just don't feel like there's going to be a connection here. Do you find that, or is it just like a trail off? Or
well, I am very much the epitome of the ghosting culture.
You ghost, you bitch.
But the thing is, at the same time, I feel like I don't really, it's like a trail, like it's a slow step away trail, because I feel like I can tell our lives aren't gonna converge again. Like, one of those things that your gut tells you that this person is only gonna want to use you for certain things, and then they're gonna leave you, or they already have a girlfriend, so I just bounce out, which happens a lot.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. Apparently, a lot of, like, dudes with fiancés or girlfriends already are, like, hitting you up, and I find that to be very wild.
Well, at the same time, a lot of guys feel like they can't experience things with a trans woman because of the people in their lives. And that curiosity takes them to places that are very dangerous. There's a lot of collateral damage there, including trans women's bodies.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
There's that. Sad face.
Yeah, I know. We both kind of look like,
Oh, I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I try and be as respectful, because I don't want a bad karma to come my way. So I always tell them, like, hey, I know you're seeing someone. I also know that you have a fiance. You're also living with them, probably. These are all different men. And please respect my need to be the main course girl.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not a side dish. I'm a whole meal, baby.
Yeah. I like to believe I am.
Yeah.
It just, that says something about me too, though. It's like, I want to feel worthy of love, of comfort, of experience, of a connection. And that's something that is thrown out so quickly just because of societal norms that they want to embrace. It's not them that they're they're not in a relationship with society when they're talking to me. Like, I have to reaffirm that I'm the person that you're in a relationship with.
Yeah.
And that just breaks down on them sometimes.
Have you had any, like, successful relationships spawn from recently?
I've only been single.
Oh.
Oh, yes. So I only know single life. I know how to be free and Beyonce. I'm sorry. Oh, jeez. No, like, I'm okay being single. I'm alone. I am not lonely.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of love in my life, and I think that that's what scares people sometimes, is that I'm comfortable in my skin. Mostly.
Well, that's also good, because it means that you're also not desperate for, like, a relationship. I know a lot of people that are just, they'll throw themselves into relationships with the wrong people just because they're like, I don't want to be alone. But there's a lot of value in being alone and, like, knowing yourself. And so, yeah, I mean, being in a relationship is not everything.
Being in a relationship when you're not ready to be in a relationship, there's so much, it's so poisonous to everyone that's surrounding that relationship.
Yeah.
I don't want to personally put that on anyone I care about. So that's why, one, I'm very private with people who I date with, because I understand that privacy is a big issue for me, as well as people I date. Because the men that are out there in LA, they just really love trans women, which is very interesting.
They love trans women.
Yeah, but they don't want to say it. And they, like, it's totally okay. It's totally okay. But, like, I have thousands and thousands of matches. And
Goddamn.
And they've
brag a little.
no, not trying to brag. But the thing is, like, I can't have conversations with all of them. I'm also not a fetish. I'm a human person. I'm a human being worthy of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah.
Well, it's nice to be like actually in a place where people are open-minded enough and like to be, because you know it can be a lot worse other places, as you certainly know. Probably.
I'm super thankful for dating apps though. Like it's made it so much more safe for me to be dating.
How so?
I don't have to meet people in public to be like, oh, hey, you're interested in me, and then they discover like, oh, you're trans, and then we'll punch you in the face. Like I have to, I can do that online and just match, and then manage to keep me safe.
Yeah, you can weed people out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
I used to not put that I'm trans on my profile, only because I didn't want to be indirectly targeted as a trans woman from people that don't want me to exist. Because there have been cases out here where like ladies have been stabbed or kidnapped or just like robbed and shot.
No, yeah, dude, the consequences could be dire. Like, there's just so much violence, and like the statistics about that is just horrifying to look at.
It's very unfortunate that trans bodies are subjected to that type of murderous intent, even though we know that they've probably been in a relationship in some form or fashion with that person. Like, they know full well that I am trans, and if anything happens to me, then they play like, oh, I'm shocked that they're trans and they came out. It's not about coming out. I lived this way, you know?
Yeah, and also, like you were talking about before, a lot of it is, like, the shame of it, and, like, not being able to accept or be like, I'm into this. And it's such a shame, dude.
People, men, most of them, are indoctrinated into the type of thinking that trans women are less than. Yeah. And that's what causes the shame. And I feel like that's why dating as a trans woman is very difficult. At the same time, also very easy.
Yeah, I guess you can weed out the bad people quickly.
I mean, if you go into search bar, like if you go into their, like your buddy's search history for porn, I'm sure you'll find trans in there in some form or way, just because they've all been curious, but the fact that they don't talk about it, or to other people, not that they need to, that hurts the men's experiences to learn how to love properly. Yeah. Have you seen Pose?
Pose?
Yeah.
What is
on
that?
FX?
No.
I think it's on FX. Oh my gosh.
Is it a TV show?
I mean, it's a TV show. It has like the most it has the largest trans woman cast on the show. And
really?
It's about 80s culture in the ballroom culture in the 80s during the AIDS epidemic. So it talks a lot about diversity in that time and what we have to experience. It goes from living as a woman and what love is like out there in the world and what they had to do back then, as well as the perspectives of the queer or the gay white community and how they respond to trans women in general. Like whenever I perform, I also perform as a drag queen. just FYI, I'm a trans drag queen. Yes, that can exist.
Everybody, be on the lookout for the next performance.
my stage name is Isis. No relation to ISIS.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, no.
My ass is the bomb.
Oh my god.
No, that was a bit. I'm sorry. That was a bit. I'm so sorry.
That's such a drag bit.
I know, it's so good though. That's usually when I put my tits on people's faces. Like, do you see the hills yet? It's so good. But yeah, like I've had the worst experiences. Not that it was intentional, but because they're also a part of minority, and sometimes minorities acquire oppressive behaviors because of what they've experienced. Sometimes when I'm out there performing in drag, they're like, oh, hey, what was your boy name? Or what did you look like before? Show me a picture. Do you still have your dick? Like, it's just one of those things where, like, hold up. I appreciate that you are acknowledging my existence, but you don't do that to me.
Yeah.
And those are one of those things that only furthers the idea that there is privilege within the minority group. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that people like Marsha P. Johnson, who has a cold case for how she was murdered. So like that's disheartening, because then people don't want to exist as me or be seen with me because those stories that surround that, that's serious. Oh, wow. Cool.
What?
That went dark real quick again.
Sometimes it gets fucking dark.
Oh, yeah, just like outside.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I had to turn all the lights on.
Yes.
So it's so bizarre to me, like, even within the community of, like, you know, drag and like gay culture and all that, like, there's still a lack of understanding and I guess empathy.
Well, don't get me wrong. I do love the community. I
Yeah.
do. It's just unfortunate that sometimes me being trans is what they fear, because it's an existence that is real, that they can see, and sometimes they don't have to be there. You know, like, so often we get put and thrown aside because, actually, you know what? Chappelle said it so good. We're the people in the back.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I mean, that was a very insightful thing that Chappelle said. I loved it because
loved
it's very true.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't laugh at the truth, how are you going to really get to the nitty gritty of things?
That's interesting. I know that Chappelle, like, got into a load of like hot water for most of what he was saying on that special.
Yeah, even my friends were like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't watch it," or I'm like, "No, I will watch it. I will laugh when I want to laugh."
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just one of those things. But, like, I also know, like, he's very insightful. He's also very self-aware, and he's very intelligent with how he presents it. And if he didn't do it that way, then how else would you see the reality of the situation? So often we do get left behind.
Yeah.
Like, you were able to get married, but we're not able to use bathrooms.
Yeah, that's fucking... Wow. I've never heard anyone put it like that, where it's just like, yeah, oh my God. That is...
I can see your mind blown.
Yeah, my mind has been blown. Like, every once in a while I hear something on this, doing this podcast, where I'm like, I never thought of that before. And, like, that's also part of the reason why I started doing this show. Because, like, I want to hear about, like, all these different experiences and learn and, you know, grow as a person as well. And also, like, you know, just discuss all this kind of shit.
And that's amazing because you're, like, literally a heterosexual white male.
Oh, yeah, I'm the
who
devil.
has all types of privileges, but at the same time acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Like, this is you being an ally in some form or fashion in a very positive way.
Well, thank you. I try. Like,
Are you blushing? Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, not stop. Oh. Yeah, because, like, before we started recording, I was like, I share whatever you want to. You know, I gave, like, a pregame speech to everybody that comes on the show.
Good pregame speech.
Yeah, but I just was like, share whatever you feel comfortable with, and if I, like, fuck up something, feel free to, like, let me know, because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be that person. Like, I'm trying to be the best goddamn podcast host that I can be.
Well, I can see that. Yes.
Yeah.
I also see that it says a lot about you as a character, like, as your own personal journey, to really be more exposed to things out there.
Yeah.
So that's a kudos to you.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, you should watch Pose.
I
You probably won't watch Pose.
I probably won't watch Pose. To be
Just
honest,
yeah,
I don't.
know.
I don't have television.
Oh, okay.
I don't have cable or anything, and
Sweet
I
deal.
also.
I'm not sweet, but okay.
one of the things about quarantine that I've hated the most is how much TV I'm watching, because usually I don't watch TV at all. Usually it's like I go to work, and then I go do comedy shit or circus stuff at night, and then I come home, I go to sleep, then wake up, go to the gym, go to work, go do comedy shit. So there's usually not time to watch TV, and now since we've been stuck inside for so long, I'm watching more TV than I've ever have in my life. Well, not in my life, but since being an adult, and I absolutely fucking hate it.
I've loved it.
Yeah.
Because I get to watch more stories than I have before. Because I like stories. Like, I'm obviously, just like everyone else, a writer. But I'm also a performer. Welcome to LA. Everyone's an actor and writer, yes. But it's good to watch stories out there that are very successful in building other people's empathy. People that you don't expect to have empathy for, but just sharing stories, lived experiences, things that make people human and who they are. I think, in a sense, it's nice to have Pose out there because they're highlighting the things that trans women have to face.
Yeah.
Like dating someone or even doing sex work just to make ends meet. Like, that's the sad reality that, like, there's socioeconomic challenges that we have to face. And it's a systemic issue too.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. We're talking about dating, aren't we? Oh,
I was going to say,
my God.
This is much bigger than dating
Let's
now.
reel it back. Okay. But no, the main point is that Pose highlights one of the characters. Her name is Angel.
Mm-hmm.
She's dating someone who works at the Trump Tower. So it's a relationship that she has. She does sex work, yes, or used to. And the guy who is in a relationship with her is also have a wife and 2 kids. So it's that type of story intertwined into the whole season, and you find out the reality of what we have to face and how white men in general, whom are very much attracted to trans women, have to deal with things outside of being in a relationship. That's why I have empathy for a lot of the men that aren't trans attracted, because it isn't easy.
Yeah.
Like, I deal with it every day, but they don't. You know, like, they choose when they can love us, but we have to learn to love them no matter what mental state they are.
Yeah. Do you think that it's because, this is just like a hypothesis, so I could be totally wrong.
Totally wrong.
Let me just stop you. You're wrong. Do you think it's because it just hasn't been such a like publicly acknowledged thing until recently, or like it's not seen as it's just become like a more, I guess, accepted thing in the world that it's taking some time to get used to? Or
well, if you think back in like the early 1920s, there was someone who had I forgot their name. Oh my gosh, so sad. How can I forget these names? But there was someone who did sexual reassignment surgery, and then she became famous in Hollywood.
Okay.
But we now don't know about that because there are gatekeepers of media
Yeah.
who only allow certain stories to be told out there, who feel like they shouldn't know about trans lives and trans stories, when in actuality it only builds and encourages empathy for people to live their authentic lives. Mm-hmm. Even like with Harry Potter, even though that's questionable, the story of Harry Potter about like, how the underdog overcame the oppression and the type of issues that they had to deal with, that is in direct link to people wanting to allow gay people to get married. You know, like it's just one of those things, because you grow up learning to fend for the underdog, and that's why a whole another generation of people started fighting for them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, not to me.
Okay.
I'm losing. It's probably to people listening. It does.
Oh,
I kind of got lost. I'm so stupid.
Like, can I comment on this? Oh my God.
Yeah, guys, write in if I'm stupid.
He's not stupid.
datingisHardComedy@gmail. Just send an email. Wow, you're fucking stupid.
Well, I'm a believer in learning to grow and learning just in general, and growing from the person you were before. That's what I believe in. Not really knowing everything immediately, and just acknowledging the fact that maybe sometimes we're wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, because I probably am, because I'm also a little nervous right now.
Wow, don't be nervous.
There's a mic in my face and it's big and black. Oh please, oh jeez, don't put that in there.
Oh my God. Okay, back to dating shit.
Oh jeez. Okay.
What do you think of it? What do you think is like a great ideal first date? Like if you were to pick like what you were going to do on a first date, what would it be?
I typically like the movies.
Yeah?
It tells me about whether they're paying attention to the movie or me.
Mm-hmm. Which do you prefer?
I prefer to pay attention to the movie.
Okay.
Because they're going to get me after. It's totally okay to get me after if you're paying attention to the movie.
Yeah.
Also, it says a lot about a person to be in a dark room with a stranger for 2 hours or more or less, and how they're comfortable with themselves.
Yes.
That's how I feel about it. Also, it gives us something to talk about when we exit. Exactly. Yep. And then you can definitely dive into perspectives, as well as it's something that's it's a topic that's disarming on a date. I find that learning to find out more about the person and just understanding their intelligence, their social intelligence, their emotional intelligence, things like that, things that they're apt to know, I find that very much more attractive than just hitting it. You know, like it's just so much more attractive to know that they're into the type of like mental stimulation. Oh my gosh, clearly I need some, because that coffee is not working properly.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. Like everyone always says that like a movie date's like a bad idea to
Rude.
do it. Yeah, I know, but like I was talking about this with my buddy Vance on I have another podcast,
Say what?
Boys Watching Girls. Everybody check that out, the Boys Watching Girls podcast. And he was talking about how he's like, no, that's an ideal if you do something after, if you go like get dinner after or like a dessert after, because then you have that shared experience that you can talk about, as opposed to like if you just go to a movie and then you're like, all right, that was a fun date, goodbye. Like you're not even talking, you're not knowing each other. You're just like, all right, this is a cool movie, see ya. But yeah, when he brought that up, I never really, because usually it's like dinner and a movie. So you try to get to know the person, quote unquote, before and then see a movie.
I typically like to go to the movies also because when AMC was open,
I know.
I was the A-list member.
Dude,
and
same.
Hey.
Yeah.
So every time I would go to the movie, want to go on a movie with someone, and they would always be like, "Well, that's expensive." I'm like, well, you don't need to pay for me.
Okay, there you go.
And then they'd pay for the drinks, or I'd pay for one round of the drinks. Like I will share in that first. But it's also kind of like, it's sad that I do this, but it's also kind of like a test. Not that I was testing you, just FYI.
What was the test?
Like if
I fail the test?
No, you did not.
Did I not know about?
No, because we did half and half pay.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah.
the usual thing is
But
like...
I snuck it in.
Yeah, I know.
I snuck it in.
I thought that you were like using some kind of rewards thing. Usually what happens with the show is like if it's somebody that I don't know, I treat them to like coffee or like froyo or something, like whatever, to meet up at first. And you fucking snuck in paying
I am
for
a ninja.
Yeah, I know. You like pulled out your phone and I was like, oh, she must be like a rewards member at this place. And then it was like, oh, you only owe $2. Like, you motherfucker.
But that's the thing that I like to do on my dates is like see whether or not they value my time. If they don't, then I will choose not to go on another date. Or if they do, and they choose not to go on another date, that's totally okay too. Because then we got to really experience that thing with each other. We got to learn more about each other and know that we probably weren't good for each other.
Yeah.
I'm also not the type to, one, get jealous or believe in unrequited love. That's just toxic for everyone. It's horrible. I've seen so many people damaged, and it's not something that I want to ever... Well, I'm sure it will experience sometime, but I don't ever want someone that I love feel that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So would you ever think that you have someone that's like the one that got away, or you're... Yes, there is one that I feel like I let in a little too deep, and that's right, a little too deep. I wasn't gonna say it.
And I did not choke.
Oh my god.
TMI. Yes. This is gonna be so good. No, but like we hit it off. We went to go see a movie. We watched The Nun together.
The Nun? That
I know,
horror movie?
Yeah, I did not. Well, first of all, I watch a lot of movies, so I don't flinch at all.
Yeah.
But he does.
Oh,
he
really?
did, and he was in the Marines. And that's totally okay because like, I'm sure he's experienced some things where like he should probably flinch.
Yeah, you got
back,
some PTSD from
like
The Nun.
As a normal person should. I didn't flinch because I'm not scared at scary movies anymore. I love scary movies. And then we went to the bar. It was just like both of us. Just the world disappeared. We were just talking to each other. We were connecting on a human level. And then we got to his hotel, and then we totally do the thing, to share things.
Yeah.
as adults would. And
Yes. Two become one.
you can say that. I will not deny that. I will not plead the fifth either. And then he says, yeah, we'll hang out again. And then he disappears.
Oh, fuck.
And that hurt me so bad because, like, I was so happy that we found, like, a connection. We both played football. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you were a lineman?
Yes, I was an offensive lineman. Offensive guard.
Oh, okay.
When I was in high school. Played 4 years.
Interior
Yes.
lineman.
Yes.
Did I tell you I played football?
Oh, were you? Hold on. Were you tight end?
I was the punter.
Oh, yeah, you told me. Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes, we did discuss this.
Oh, my gosh. I totally forgot. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you know what? It's cool as long as you acknowledge that you fucked up. It's totally fine.
I did that, right? I acknowledge it. Okay.
You acknowledged that you were like a terrible person. Like,
Yes. Definitely a terrible person. Remember that. But then he disappeared. But then, like, 4 months go by. I still don't hear from him. And then he finally texts me back.
Oh, really?
Yes.
4 months?
4 months. And then after that, like, it was another year. Like, we're supposed to meet up. Every time that we're supposed to meet up, he ends up... well, I allow myself to believe that we'll meet each other again.
Yeah.
And it hurts because it doesn't happen. And I only hear from him, like, from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. or 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. And that to me obviously should indicate that he's with someone or that he's maybe married with kids. But I don't know, it just, anytime I think of him, I always feel like he's the one that I wish I could just be with.
Yeah.
At the same time, do I really want that type of person who won't communicate with me?
Yeah.
And will only objectify my body. And not that that's his intention, because we had a great connection from my perspective, because he can't obviously speak for himself, as well as there's always more to the story, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it just hurts to know, like, I was that person that he just used for a moment in time and then didn't allow me to get any closer to him.
Yeah.
And that doesn't replace any type of feeling at all.
Has he ever given a reason as to why his communication is so spotty? Like, it's 4
Well,
months and a year?
Well, that yes. He says he's a contractor for the government. So he can't disclose money things. And I'm okay with that. It's just what my gut feeling is telling me is that he's probably married and he probably has kids. Like, someone that looks like him to go after me in a public setting, it's rare, and I shouldn't expect much. And it's unfortunate that I have to feel that way. You know?
Yeah, that sucks.
It's chill. It could be worse.
It's
I also bounce
chill.
back. I also have a lot of options, so I'm not that distraught anymore over it. Like, I feel like I acknowledge my feelings for him, and I wish we would have gotten closer, because everything was great. Like, we connected, we cuddled, we laughed so much, we drank so much. It was just like, it wasn't a drunken stupor though.
Yeah.
Like, we were very much aware of what was happening. It's just, like, we connected in a way where, you know those times when you connect with someone and you just feel like, wow, there's a sexual charge there, like, there's something that wants you to intertwine with that type of soul. And that's how it felt for me. And I can only speak for myself, and I'm acknowledging that. It's just, I just wish I meant more to that person.
Yeah.
But I'm also not jealous. And I'm also looking, so let's chill.
So, hit me up.
So hit me up.
Slide them DMs, baby. No, I know exactly what you mean, where it's just like, it sucks when that happens, and like we were talking about that earlier about like the unrequited love thing. It's just, if you allow yourself to have that, like, be such a constant part of your life, you're never gonna like be happy, and you're never gonna get over it. So it's best to let that kind of stuff go. And I got into trouble with it, like in an episode of this a couple episodes ago, because it was quarantine, I did a couple of like solo episodes. So I told this one story about like there was this girl that I went on a date with, and I thought it was like super great.
Was it me, right?
No.
I'm just playing.
That would have been crazy. Like I'm having this forethought that I'm gonna have a podcast with this girl that I have.
Hilarious.
But you know, I did the whole podcast as like a long story, and like there's a lot of moving parts in it. And somebody emailed into like the podcast email, and there was like, you need to get over this person. It's like, well, I mean, like over it, but like, you know, I just need some time to fill. And I know that this was like a complicated and long story, and I wanted to be entertaining, but also at the same time, it's like, if that person doesn't value your time or respect you enough to communicate with you, or you know, even just like respect you on a human level to reach out or whatever, all that shit, it's not going to end well. And like, not to be fatalistic or negative, but it's like, don't let that person waste your time.
It's also the reality of the situation too, though. Like, there comes a point when you just have to know to let someone go. Yeah. And there's a moment where you are choosing to feel that way, and it's never easy. It's easier said than done, as most things are, but it also ties back to like your experiences as a person, how your parents loved, and how you want to feel love.
Yeah.
Like, we sometimes do what we see because of what we've seen when we were younger, and we think that that's right for us, when in actuality that may not be right for us. I never saw my father, even though I respect him. Like, he was not really there for me. But what do you expect from an Asian father? You know, like, get good grades? I got good grades. I was president of so many things. We respected each other.
Yeah.
And my love for him did not die. It's just, I realized that I need someone who's going to communicate.
Yeah.
And that person that I feel like I let go, definitely.
Well, that's the other thing too, is like you see that your parents' love as like an example of love, but you also want to build on that. Like
Exactly.
there's things that they fuck up on that you're like, oh, I don't want to ever be doing that to my partner, or I don't want to ever do that to like my children or whoever, or people that I love. So you learn from it in so many ways, and like that's what I want and that's what I don't want, because that's just like, you know, your first and most constant example of love. But
it's hard for people to dismantle that too, though, because it's been installed in their brains since they were young. I do feel like there's always an opportunity to understand how to love and how to install self-worth into people, either the people that you love or the kids that you have. I know, like, for me, I want to make sure that my kids, if I decide to have kids, because I'm getting old, I'm getting so old.
We're not old. We're fucking in LA. Like, fucking 40 is the new 20 or whatever. I don't know how old you are. I forgot.
It's okay. It's okay. So sad. But I just want to make sure that my kids know their self-worth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to ever leave my home thinking that they're less than. The world is harsh, yes, but them existing and living at this moment means that they are strong enough, and they just need to remind themselves.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to ask you the last two questions that I ask everybody on this podcast before we wrap things up.
Sweet.
First question. Who is a celebrity that you think would be in your league if they weren't a celebrity? Like the hottest celebrity that you... But, I mean, you're already saying that you're matching with a bunch of celebrities, so, I mean, you know.
That's very interesting, isn't that? I feel like that's very fascinating.
What? That you're matching with a bunch of celebrities? Or the question?
That part. The first part that you said, matching with celebrities.
I've only matched with, like, 2 celebrities, and I never got to meet up with them.
I love matching with porn stars.
Oh, you match with porn stars?
I love it. It's so much fun. They're so good.
Yeah?
I'm sorry.
I wish I could match with a fucking porn star.
Oh, jeez. It's hard to say because they live such a different life than me. It'd be either Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Because who doesn't love a gentle soul? Like, he is an old, gentle soul, and he's just a beautiful person.
He just seems like the nicest person. Like,
Exactly.
all the stories that I ever hear about Keanu Reeves, it's like, that guy fucking rules.
Yes. So I would like that to be around me. That's one person that I feel like...
Would get along with.
I would get along with, but probably not in his league. I don't make those figures to be in his league. So sad. How about maybe... I've always had a thing for Cyclops.
The actor that plays him? James Marsden?
Yes.
From Sonic the Hedgehog?
Oh my gosh.
That guy's beautiful. That guy's fucking hot as hell.
I could snuggle with him all day.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure. But we'll see.
I used to like him a lot, and then I saw him in that Gal Gadot Imagine video, and I was like, oh, James Marsden, no. Remember that?
No.
At the beginning of quarantine?
No, I'm sorry. What?
Gal Gadot had an Instagram video where it was like a bunch of celebrities singing Imagine by John Lennon.
Oh. Okay, now that you mentioned Gal Gadot, maybe I should choose Henry Cavill instead.
Oh, dude, that guy.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You gave 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I gave good options.
You gave 3. You got
solid options.
Yeah.
They clearly all have dark hair. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess I do have a type.
It seems like you do.
Discoveries made tonight.
Brown-haired, jacked guys. All right, the last question before we wrap everything up is, what's a piece of advice you'd give everybody listening about dating?
Before you date, always remember to make sure that you're worthy of love.
There you go. All right, Naya, do you have any, you want to like promote anything or no, or it's up to you?
Oh, my Instagram is What Asian Are You? Letters are you. So what Asian? Letters are you. And then I'm also Lao, in case you're wondering. Lao, like Laotian. Also, if you want to follow my OnlyFans, it's at Naya Business.
There you go, everybody. Sign up for that OnlyFans. Get that exclusive content.
Ew, why did I just do that? Anyway, it's fine.
Naya, thanks so much for doing the show.
No problem.
There you have it, everybody. That was my chat with Naya. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. It was awesome. And yeah, for everything that you need to know about this show, datingishardcomedy.com. Follow the Instagram at datingishardcomedy. Follow me on Instagram at Joe Welkie. If you could please give it a 5-star review on Apple, that'd be awesome. Subscribe, like, tell your friends about it, and all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm so glad that I'm able to talk to some people again, and things are progressing with the show, and I'm really happy about how it's turning out. So, yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show, and until next time, later.